This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Hey!
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Prim and Proper Sports. I'm your host, Sonia, and I know, guys, I'm on a little bit later than usual. This is for you night owlers, so this is going to be an abbreviated actual show tonight. I'm actually just getting in from class, so trying to figure out a way to keep the show going on Wednesdays, even though I'm, otherwise occupied, but got to at least come on and do an abbreviated version with you guys. I hope everybody's had a great day. This is the August 20th, 2025 edition, and it is Wednesday night, 11 o'clock. I know a lot of you all have to go to work tomorrow, so I promise to be brief. So just going to give you a little bit of NFL news. You guys know that the grand finale of week 3 now of the NFL is among us. And if you guys don't remember, this is Roger Goodell, in my opinion, sneak way to kind of get this extended season he's been talking about. Let's be clear. Roger Goodell said he wanted a 20-week season. And so right now, with the abbreviated preseason, we have cut down one game from the 4-week preseason we normally have down to 3. And don't be surprised next season, you all, if we see another cut and it end up being down to 2 games, and maybe we only at some point see 1 game for the introduction. But this is the grand finale of the preseason. And what do you guys think? Weigh in your thoughts. What are you most interested in seeing about your team now that you've seen a display of the rookies for the most part? Of course, Shedeur Sanders did not make his second debut. He made his inaugural debut with the Carolina Panthers and looked good. I'll talk about him in just a moment because I really want you guys' opinion on this. But Travis Hunter, the dual threat supposedly in Duval County, did not make his second week debut. They basically are saying they were holding him out for some type of soreness, what have you, as a precautionary measure. And my thoughts are like, okay, Travis, if you're already experiencing some type of health issues, soreness, what have you, but you're going to play on both sides of the ball, I'm going to be one of the ones that is waiting, withholding my judgment to see what happens. Of course, the Jaguars face the Carolina Panthers in their season opener, first week of September down in Duval County. And so Travis will be on full display with his quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. So that's going to be interesting to see how that all pans out. Let me give a shout out to the affiliates right now, Elite Sports Entertainment Network. Thank you so much for having me on your platform. Of course, I'm always going to have National Streaming Sports, the platform that started it all for me here. Shout out to them. Miss Linda, shout out to you. Of course, without you and Mac would not be here tonight. And hello to everyone that I am on their platform. Shout out to Brian Bistrilla, He's the production team behind me, and Pink Fan Fur with all the promos, thanks to them, and everybody else that always plays a big part in making this happen. So let's back up just a little bit. Shedeur Sanders. So the Browns have released their depth chart. And surprisingly, Shador is listed as their fourth string quarterback behind Dylan Gabriel. Now, the stats, they did a mirror of the stats, a comparison, what have you, and they do look similar, but Shador had 2 touchdowns. And I'm trying to figure out just where this all factors in. At this point, fans are basically saying, hey, Cleveland, we know you don't want him. Go ahead and cut him. Let him find a team that will at least make him their number 2 so that he can acclimate into the NFL. Browns really fourth string quarterback. They are continuing this narrative where they're keeping him behind Dylan Gabriel, just like they did in the draft, despite Shador looking absolutely amazing. I have to say, in the Carolina game, the main feature was not about what the Panthers looked like. Everybody was there to see Shador Sanders debut in the NFL, and I thought he did absolutely amazing. So I'm going to be rooting for him to at least find a team that will be able to build around him, that he will be able to nurture and mature with and get a role. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, at least start as a number 2. Let's look at a little bit of other NFL news today. This is going to be, like I said, an abbreviated show for everybody coming on. Hello. This show will not go more than 30 minutes today. So I've got to get back to studying. I'm sure a lot of people are getting ready for work and what have you. And this is the midweek show, but I just want to keep it going to let you all know. So don't be surprised. This may be the new time. And as things kind of progress with the season or what have you, we'll kind of adjust there about it. I got a little bit of freedom with the late night crew. Now, the Jets are acquiring defensive tackle Harrison Phillips in a late round pick swap with the Minnesota Vikings. That was kind of a shock. I mean, they're still doing trades and what have you. Niners wide receiver Demarcus Robinson is to be suspended 3 games for violation of the league's substance abuse policy. Now, players, you've had all season to dibble and dabble in all your pleasantries, what have you. Whatever that is, you know that the league is testing. And so I'm not saying that he was still partaking of whatever it is that he tested positive for. It could be just simply, some type of supplements, the supplements that you and I may take that are safe and, FDA okayed. The NFL may be like, no, that's a performance enhancing drug. And so we don't want that in our league. And therefore, we're going to suspend you for 3 games. So hopefully it'll be over sooner than later. DeMarcus, full enough for you to make an impact. Titans quarterback Cam Ward has no ill will with defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons after there was a dust up and all these, there's these scrimmages, what have you, between teams as they have the practices, personalities. These rookies are coming in here like, hey, usually the king of the crop from their undergrads, their colleges, what have you. And the NFL is like, nah, we all grown here. So you come over here with this and you're going to be initiated very wise and efficiently. Let's talk about some projected news here. Now, the Bears quarterback Tyson Bagent has now signed a 2-year, $10 million extension with Chicago. Now, Chicago is really foretold of really having a good season. Y'all know they've been struggling with the quarterback situation for a myriad of years now, a myriad of seasons. And so they are projected to do well, but they gave this guy $10 million. And so we will see. Now, the Monsters of the Midway, the verdict is still out because you guys know the Detroit Lions are still coming back for more. Despite losing their offensive and defensive coordinators, they don't care. They're like, we are coming back. And trust me, I honestly believe that even without those 2, they have people in place to continue their journey on to the championship. Let's talk about Joe Burrow a little bit. Now, with these power rankings and what have you, it's basically like Cincinnati built so much in their offense, their big 3, that little is left to be said about the defense. So what would happen with the power rankings? People still believe that Joe Burrow and the Bengals actually have a solid playoff push. Now, that may be laughable, but with the ripple effect of Trey Hendrickson's contract standoff, we saw that most of the offseason. It's kind of like if the all-pro edge rusher isn't on the field for Cincinnati's defense, the one part of the defense that we see that they kind of try to work with, then the offense is going to be asked to really step up and do way more than they did last year if they want to secure these wins. They cannot bank on the way they've been playing in the past and expect to be able to get the dub. So, two additional notes that really stood out. Drake May passes for more than 3,200 yards in 5.9% of simulations. Now, these are all predictions of what people are saying for the next season. Trevor Lawrence is supposedly going to pass for more than 3,700 yards himself. So they are predicting that to be big. The top 5 quarterbacks, no surprise here, Baker Mayfield out of Tampa Bay. They're predicting him to go over 4,600 yards this season. Patrick Mahomes, of course, can't have a conversation without him. He's projected to get a little over 4,600 himself. Jared Goff for the Lions. I just talked to you guys about how these Lions are still hungry. They're still in the den. They're still coming out of hibernation, out of the den, and they are ready. Lions roar on. Jared Goff, close to 4,600 projected, but about 45-ish yards. Now, one that will surprise you guys, despite all the moves that San Francisco has made, they are not completely out of playoff contentions or quarterback talk, because they are predicting that Brock Purdy will have a breakout season with 4,500 yards himself. They're predicting out of these quarterbacks I just mentioned that Joe Burrow will have 39 touchdowns. They're thinking Saquon Barkley. You guys saw his first year with the Philadelphia Eagles, rivals to the New York Giants. Y'all can quit talking about that connection because it is dead and buried. Saquon got a big extension with the Eagles, especially after leading them to a Super Bowl ring. He's projected to get 1,548 yards, probably more. Let's be clear, that is an underestimate. These estimates, according to NFL.com and some of their writers over there. Derrick Henry, y'all remember King Henry, put the crown back on him in Baltimore. He is going to be assisting Lamar Jackson. Let's look at the Ravens taking flight. He is projected to get over 1,500 himself. Let's take it to the NFC South. Despite my personal judgment and actually some of my opinionated judgment, I'll put that here for a moment. Bijan Robinson, who actually is one of my favorite players of all time for the Atlanta Falcons, because he just came in so hungry and looked like he belonged. He is projected to get close to 1,500 yards himself. By the way, Kirk Cousins is now the number 2 for the Atlanta Falcons. Did you guys catch that blunder out of Savannah's news station last week where they had a press conference of Michael Penix Jr. At Emory up at Flowery Branch? They had the little Emory backdrop. That's who sponsors the Atlanta Falcons, one of their sponsors. He was doing a press conference. They were talking about, things upcoming with the season, how he'd been practicing with drills, how he felt about, coming into this position as a starting quarterback. And the caption was wrong. Now, I've shared this on all our platforms. They literally had this guy's last name spelled as male genitalia. Okay. Don't believe me? Look it up, Google it. But someone lost their job in Savannah, Georgia. And Georgia, come on, this is your home team. Y'all should have known better. But it was bound to happen, you guys. It was bound to happen. But anyway, they are not believing, despite Michael Penix taking to him. You guys know how hyped up the Falcons were last year, saying Kirk Cousins was their guy, that he was the missing piece, blah, blah, blah. No, I was at the season opener, and he did not look the part, despite Russell Wilson not even playing because Russell was hurt. Justin Fields took the field, no pun intended, against the Pittsburgh Steelers in the season opener, and they lost it. So Kirk was there. He's now claiming he's had some injuries they didn't know about with his arm, but the Falcons are like, you know what, Kirk? We'll keep you over here as our plan B. Michael Penix Jr. is our starting quarterback. But even with all that, because Kirk is still collecting his checks because he got over $100 million guaranteed and then some, they are not banking on Atlanta being the team that is going to be, leaders of the South again. You got to get past Tampa Bay Baker Mayfield. And let's not get it twisted. The Panthers have done a lot of work with building around Bryce Young. This is his make or break season. The New Orleans Saints, we don't want to count them out just yet. They got a quarterback and a coaching carousel going on right now, but I think they have the right pieces in place to make a solid push not to be number 4. So who is going to be number 4? Let's say it won't be my Panthers and it won't be the Bucks. So go figure those other 2 teams. But anyway, Bijan projected to get over 1,400 yards, close to 1,500 yards. So shout out to him. Jonathan Taylor of the Indianapolis Colts. We don't talk about the Colts a lot, y'all. We don't talk about the AFC teams a lot at all because I'm so NFC oriented. But Jonathan Taylor predicted to get 1,400 yards himself. So shout out to him. And let's take it on back to the Lions. My boy, Jahmyr Gibbs is predicted to get close to 1,400 yards himself. Now, rushing touchdowns, speaking of Jahmyr, they're thinking he's going to get like 13 for the Lions. They got him ranked number 1. So these are some plugs for y'all picking up people in the fantasy. I play fantasy, and these guys are going to go off the table real quick when the rotation comes, especially if you got like the snake rounds, like it's just alternating who picks first, what have you. Don't be surprised. These guys that I'm talking to you about right now are going to go off the tables really quick. Other top 5 people, Jonathan Taylor of the Colts, talked about him. Derrick Henry, let's not forget about him. Bijan and Josh Jacobs of the Packers. People have been really silent on the Packers. They don't know what to think right now. Let's take it back to the AFC this time. This time back with the Bengals for receptions. At number 1, it's predicted that just as much money as they spent in this O-line, it better be. Jamar Chase is predicted to get over 128 receptions for the regular season for the Bengals. Now, if you guys have not checked out the Netflix quarterback docuseries, in which Joe Burrow is one of the featured quarterbacks, you definitely missed getting a chance to know what Jamar's loving parents, Jimmy and Talia Chase, who are some of the favorited people on here, like they talk about the reactions they have when they're scoring, blah, blah, blah. They have little sayings for Jamar. But anyway, the verdict for number 1 is for Jamar Chase at 128 receptions for the season. Now, some honorable mentions for the projected top 5 going to Amon-Ra St. Brown. We keep taking it back to the Lions because that Lions offense is still so very stacked. They are predicting him to get 111 receptions this season, followed by Mr. Gritty himself, Justin Jefferson of the Minnesota Vikings is predicted to get a little over 109. Go figure. CeeDee Lamb, the Cowboys, 109. Silas of the Lamb. The Lamb is going to be loud. And followed by Brock Bowers, finally showing up and showing improvement for the LV Raiders. Pete Carroll taking over as coach there first season. That's going to be interesting. Let me put a plug in about the Cowboys. So according to Schottenheimer, I always call him Shopping Center, Schottenheimer, the head coach now of Dallas Cowboys, he is still holding out hope that Michael Parsons is going to be a go for week 1. Now, this thing has played out for a very long time. Honestly, it looks like nobody's coughing up money to pay him, or he would have been gone by now, but he has been very vocal about not wanting to stay in Dallas. And, I'm like, hey, we'll take you in Carolina if we can, but go figure we didn't. We have not as of yet. Receiving yards. Let's talk about those. 1,722 yards for Jamar Chase. Once again, predicted to be in that top position. A lot of, Jamar Chase, a lot of Cleveland, Cincinnati, AFC, NFC North, all of those teams, big talk of all of those guys right now. Justin Jefferson following up at a little under 1,600. Amon-Ra St. Brown again projected at 1,500. CeeDee Lamb again 1,400. And Brian Thomas Jr. of the Jacksonville Jaguars is predicted to get over 1,400. Now, let's talk about these receiving touchdowns. This is what y'all really want to hear because this is what really beefs up your fantasy points. Jamar Chase, once again, number 1 for receiving touchdowns. I hope I can get him on my fantasy. He is predicted to get 14 receiving touchdowns this season, guys. Can't go far with this without talking about the other sample to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that is Mike Evans from Tampa Bay. And what's up to the 1 8 cheek 3 toes? Thank you so much, guys, for sharing. I tried to put it on your platform, but it was a disconnect error. But thank you so much for coming on and sharing. My guy B, like I did, gave him a shout out earlier about all the production that you guys see here. So there is that for him. And so listen, the next person they're talking about again, Justin Jefferson, 10 touchdown receptions. Amara St. Brown predicted 9.5. Don't get it twisted. He's going to have more than that. And then someone we have not talked about in that Cincinnati offense, which was one of the big three, T. Higgins. He's predicted to get 9 for the Bengals. Total touches. Now, this right here is a huge stat. Can y'all guess who number one is for the most touches for the season? Well, I'll give you a hint. It's someone that I told you guys I really like him as a player. He's a big running back, came in as a rookie last year looking like he really belonged in the league. None other than Mr. Robinson, not Robinson's neighborhood, not Rogers' neighborhood. Bijan Robinson is predicted to be number one in the league with touches next season at 390 touches. Followed by my boy, former Carolina Panther, now San Francisco 49er running back, Christian McCaffrey is predicted to get 369 touches for the season. Let's go back to the Lions. Y'all know we cannot talk about none of these categories without talking about them. Jahmyr Gibbs, 333 projected touches. Someone we talked about briefly, but we definitely got to bring in again. Saquon Barkley for the Philadelphia Eagles is predicted to get 324 touches. And somebody y'all ain't thought about, Ashton Gentry. Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders, 308 total touches. So these guys are going to have their hands on the ball. Look for the defense to really try to put some coverage on these guys because they know they are go-getters and they will spiral out of control and the game will be over. Total touchdowns from that division, Bijan Robinson leads the pack with 14 projected touchdowns for the Atlanta Falcons. Let's be clear. He may be the only one scored touchdowns for the whole season. They're questionable about Kyle Pitts. You know, Drake London is solid when he is, and there you have it or whatever. But he's going to be the leader. So kudos to you, Bijan, in advance. Jamar Chase, of course, number 2 for the Bengals. Talking about him again. 14.1 touchdowns out of that. Jahmyr Gibbs again leading the ham, 14. Saquon Barkley, 13.5. And Jonathan Taylor, we mentioned him again from the Colts at 13-2. Now let's talk about the defense as we get ready to wrap this up in the next 7 minutes. Got to flip the coin and go to the defense. Sacks. Number 1 sacks with recording projection of 15 goes to Detroit Lions, Aiden Hutchinson. He is ranked number 1 for projected top 5 of sacks for this season. Next is TJ Watt, who the Steelers went ahead and made sure they solidified his contract. He's projected to get 13. And then we forgot about you, Myles Garrett from the Cleveland Browns, 12 projected sacks. Nick Bosa, y'all better know the 49ers are not going away, 11 projected sacks. And someone we haven't talked about, we keep talking about the Raiders. People have really pumped the Raiders up with Pete Carroll coming in there taking over. Matt Crosby is projected to get 10 sacks. So these are big. Now, interceptions, sticking to the keys, sticking to the script. Number 1 projection comes from former Packer, now Baltimore Ravens, Jair Alexander. He's projected to have 5 interceptions, guys. He's ranked number 1. You know, this could be a fickle category because interceptions depends a lot about the quarterback who's on, you know, and the defense. And if you got a quarterback that's just not comfortable in the gap or whatever in the pocket, then that's going to make your interceptions probably go up. The prediction is going to go up. But so we got to look at who they're actually playing. But he's ranked number one for the Ravens for interceptions at 5 projected. Coming in number 2, a Packer right now, Xavier McKinney is projected to get 4. Kirby Joseph for the Detroit Lions. You guys, he's a silent killer, honestly. 3.9 projections to get for interceptions. Jesse Bates, the Atlanta Falcons, they're coming back to that neck of the woods on that. It's projected to get 3.8 himself. And Derek Stingley Jr. from the Texans. This is the first time I've mentioned the Texans tonight. Is projected to get 3.5. So anyway, that's the news. That's my plug. Of course, we got a bunch of let's see who we got rolling through this weekend. NFL games coming up. Literally, I think they start tomorrow. Yep, 7 p.m. My Panthers are going to be taking on the Steelers in Charlotte. That's always a great feat. Shout out to my uncle. God rest his soul. That was his team. And we always talked after the Steelers-Panthers game, no matter if they play preseason or regular season. The New England Patriots are playing tomorrow night at 8 o'clock against the New York Giants. Now, I forgot to tell you the Steelers and Panthers are at 7. I don't think I told you guys that. That's the Thursday night games. And on Friday, we see the Eagles and the Jets, the green versus the green. That's going to be at 7 p.m. And the Atlanta Falcons are taking on the Dallas Cowboys at 8 o'clock. And then at the same time, the Vikings are taking on the Titans, and the Bears at 8:20 are taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. And then on Saturday, they got you guys a little bit of action going. The Baltimore Ravens taking on the Commanders at 12 o'clock noon. And that will also at 1 be followed. The Broncos and Saints are playing. Rams and Browns at 1 o'clock. And you got the Colts and Bengals also at 1. A lot of 1 o'clock games. Texans and Lions at 1. Then at 4 o'clock, you got the West Coast game. Seahawks versus Packers, even though the Packers are Midwest. You got the Jaguars and the Dolphins at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. So they're making this schedule realistic, like what the schedule is going to look like when the season kicks off in a couple of weeks. Buffalo Bills versus the Buccaneers at 7 as well. And the Chargers versus the 49ers at 8:30. And y'all, they even got a late game at 10 o'clock at night. If y'all are still up on Saturday, Raiders versus Cardinals. And that's the real West Coast game because it's really 7 o'clock over there when they play. So 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday. And then week 1 is kicking off September 4th, literally the very week later. Cowboys and Eagles is the start of the season at 8:20 p.m. on September 4th. Okay, guys. So for some reason, things got crazy and I had some technical difficulties, but I'm back now. I don't know what. It's just like, come on now. Really, StreamYard? But anyway, lots of games this weekend. I hope everybody gets a chance to actually enjoy the weekend and rah rah your team, all the rookies that are still getting on display until we see the big game. And I don't know where it cut off at, but I went through a list of the games for this weekend. I hope you guys got a chance to see them all. If not, go to NFL.com. Shout out to them. And the week kicks off on September 4th with this big Cowboys game versus the Eagles. We'll see if Michael Parsons has finally not parted ways with his beloved team. Like I said, Schottenheimer is actually thinking he's going to take the field, so we will see what that looks like. And the real season has commenced after the fourth game, and so then we'll go in and everybody will really be screaming and hollering for their teams and being super excited to do so because our favorite time of season is back. And with that, I will bid everybody a good night. Thank you so much for joining me on this very late edition of Prim and Proper Sports. You all have a good night.